Welcome to GD Gyan. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button. Hello everyone. Welcome to GD Gyan. Let's have a quick look into our next episode of Learn AWS in 3 hours. Today we are going to discuss about the compute or the VM or the machine or EC2, Elastic Cloud Computing. What all we are going to learn? Just have a quick look here. What are the topics I just listed over here, and at the end I have a quiz, 5 question. The answer you can reply me over the comment. Just wanted to check your understanding. Mostly my intention of this entire module is that by going through this entire 3 hours AWS concept, you should be able to clear your solution architect exam, provided you are reading the FAQ from the EC2 as well. Let's go to the next one. I think you have gone through the line item what we are going to cover. I have been receiving questions whether these are the listed services, whether I'm going to cover in detail or not. So I will not cover in detail these services. Reason, it's not relevant for your solution architect exam. Though I'll give you a quick idea about these services on my last episode. I'll cover as much required for your solution architect exam. So don't worry about that. We'll cover that as well. Let's go into EC2. So what is EC2? Elastic Compute, Cloud Compute, right? So the way you buy your desktop, your on-premises device, so it is that. So when you're going to buy your computer, you buy CPU, RAM, memory, all combined into a box, and you bring it back to home and you start playing PUBG, right? So similarly, like this way, we are going to procure it, but over a cloud environment. So what are the different billing model? How you are going to pay them? So free tier, definitely everybody starts with 12 months free period. So again, one more thing, everything doesn't free on that free tier. Everything has a limit. Like EC2, you get 750 hours of work. So you don't think that you get a free tier, so you do anything you wanted to do. Be uh, be careful and read through my previous video so that you can create your billing alarm and stay tuned on your billing, and you should run on your pocket money. So on demand, you need device, you get it. You don't need, you decommission. So straightforward. Reserved, you book it for a 1 year or 3 year duration. It gives you cheaper rate. So AWS, we discussed in our previous episode as well, AWS organization. So the main reason behind AWS organization is also club all the resources. So when you club more resources, you book it for a longer duration, you get a great price slash from AWS Amazon. Spot, so you fixed a price that I want this device at this price per hour rate. So it's only works for EC2. When that price comes to that rate, you get it. When it cross that rate, they take it. So mostly on demand, you need some development work is done, you shut down. Reserve, you need something like Netflix, Amazon Prime, any service which need uninterrupted infrastructure, you need reserve. Spot, you need to run some work like some memory related processing work or anything. You wanted to ensure that let this work happen. Even though it gets stopped, it doesn't impact, you can get it next day. So that is for spot. Dedicated host, which is the important one. We don't use that in any of the IT organization, Netflix, Airbnb, anybody. They don't use this kind of dedicated host. Only government, security personnel, finance related things, which is very complex, and this is very secure. So they don't want to take a risk. They want their dedicated infrastructure for their EC2. So so we hope you understand. Though don't feel that your resources are being shared, so a person A can access person B's account. Even person, I mean, lot of security policies are there which you can define through security groups, through NACL, and AWS definitely take care of on the higher tier. So don't worry about that. It is foolproof. Okay, moving to the next one. So when you buy a computer, you choose, right? What is the hard disk I want? What would be my memory processor based upon my work pattern? If I am an IT professional, I need lot of software to run. My RAM should be good enough. My CPU should be faster, right? If I more of a like playing games or working on a game, so I would need that gaming related cards and every graphics card being enabled there, right? If I just use for my general purpose like studying, browsing few documents, reading through it, and listening music when I'm tired, so I need general purpose for that. Storage optimized mode of where you are saving images, encrypting something, uploading video, downloading video. So I gave this five categories: memory, general purpose, compute optimized, accelerated computing, storage optimized. So you don't need to remember these names, but stay here for 10-15 seconds, read through these blocks, because I don't want it to increase the length of this entire tutorial. So general purpose, so ATM. Compute, C is for CPU, C, so remember that way, C stands for compute. R is for RAM, X is extreme RAM, Z is also for RAM, right? So it is for memory related. Anything on the compute, on the picture, P picture, so graphics. G graphics, right? F is also film. So remember in that way that okay, P, G, F are for graphics related or accelerated computing. Storage, H hard disk, I IOPS, D disk or dense storage. So remember this way that which type. So suppose they said that being an architect, someone asked you that I wanted to develop one gaming intensive video streaming device, and I have selected G3 EC2 instance type processing unit. Is this correct? So you just don't need to remember it is a G3 or G5, but you understand G is for gaming, right? So you can say yes. So similarly like that, you need to understand this concept. You don't need to memorize anything into to pass the solution architect exam. Okay guys, so let's go back to the dashboard. So you understand this thing, compute. I am into GD Gyan, North Virginia region, and this is my compute. So this is EC2, and there are a lot of other services. So do we all need all the compute services? No. For solution architect, you need to understand EC2, Lambda, and Elastic Beanstalk. Lambda and Beanstalk I'll cover as much required in the subsequent slide. Today EC2, which you need to definitely know. Click on EC2. I'm going to the EC2 page. This is my new, this is the new version of the AWS console. I'm logging it after some time. The one I used that was very old, so maybe I'm also going to learn when I'm working. So I think launch instance, that will be the launching the instance. So basically what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to launch one instance, one machine for you, right? I'll go a bit slow, and I wanted to give you an experience that, so that when you are reading this video, when you are downloading this video, you should feel that okay, I have covered everything, I have understood all those things, right? What are the, if even though you are not doing the hands-on, it should give you the feeling. So AMI, imagine machine image, what is that? So it's an image which consisted of your operating system, your processor, uh, connections, all those things. So they created a image for you with combination of hard disk, RAM, CPU, memory, firewall settings, and everything into that with operating system. And you can see here that free tier eligible. So that means I am logged into my free tier and I am eligible for that. One more thing, virtualization type HVM. So Amazon having two type of virtualization. So I'm going very slow here, but before that, I'm speaking so fast, so let me take some water as well. Okay, so let's go through everything. If I click here for free tier, it will give me only those options which are free, right? So I can see that 1 out of 18 AMI. Slowly scroll down, you will be able to understand and see that what all different operating system you have. So based upon your requirement, you can choose any one of them, right? And you can understand the processing, 64-bit, 32-bit, whatever things are there, you all can see this thing. Now you see all the virtualization types are HVM, right? So ENA enable, I will cover that ENA, all these things in a small topic at the end on my last video. Let's look into the other stuffs. So Amazon Linux SSD volume type, right? So you can understand that this includes Docker, PHP, MySQL. So this is a package. They already have this thing installed. Let's look into here once. Okay, let's uncheck this one and scroll down slowly. Let's look into that slowly, what all different things we have. Okay, before I choose anything, here is my AMI. So you can also create your own AMI. So for example, you as a solution architect, you design one system with Linux, Apache, Jenkins, Team Foundation Server. You choose your own set of softwares and you created an AMI. So in your team, anybody wants to create, they don't need to configure those things. They just create the AMI from there, right? So that is what my AMI. AWS Marketplace. So from here, you can buy some of the market-driven software. So it's a sharing with a different vendor. You can get a product from them. You can create your own AMI from there as well. Community AMI. So here is something, some of the AMI being created by the different community. So open, I mean, Amazon Linux and all other operating system wise, you can choose from this options, right? So these are the different options that you can see. So you can see the virtualization type is HVM everywhere written, right? So they do have one more virtualization. So I'm just trying to search if I can show you that example. Okay. Now, two things we discussed about in the previous episode, that EBS, right, elastic block storage S3 is not suitable for uh, installing database, configuring your operating system. We need block based storage, so definitely EBS is the option. But what is instant store? So just I just click on that, so you can see some of the AMI which has instance store. Definitely they are not free tier. I will not take uh, the chance of paying from my own pocket, but I definitely wanted to show you. So para virtual, you see it, virtualization type. As of now, we are seeing HVM. Now it is para virtual or PV. So there are two types of virtualization present in Amazon, right? And HVM and PV, those are the two things. One of those common question that comes into solution architect exam. So instance type is a different type of uh, type of your storage. Uh, so difference between EBS and instance store. So if you have EBS, you can reboot, you can start, stop, uh, but you will not lose your data. Instance store, you cannot, you don't have the option to reboot, but if you stop or if it get forcefully stopped, you will lose your data. So this is the thing. It is not very useful method of doing this thing, but I don't know who are the people who choose this kind of a root volume. Second thing, instance store type, you if you wanted to add this kind of a volume to your system or machine, you have to do it when you are configuring your EC2 instance. Like we are into configuration page now. So suppose you got your EC2 instance created. So for example, you have your instance, you have your operating system, RAM, everything created, you're using it, you developed an app application, you have developed a web application. Now you wanted to feel that I need to attach another hard disk kind of instance store. I cannot do that. It has to be done during the configuration. Though EBS you can add, modify, change, delete at any point of time, right? So that is also one more thing I wanted to talk. Let's go back. I think I covered this part, instance store and EBS, very popular question on the exam. So let's go to the quick start. I choose the first one. I like to be on top of the chart, so selected that. Now you saw this options are general purpose, right? So we discuss about this thing. If we compute optimize general purpose, all those things, right? And storage D. So this is what we explain in our previous slide, right? So you can look into that. So let me, where is my general purpose? Okay, so it is the free tier, only this one. General purpose, we remember it is a TM, right? So I mentioned that T2.micro. So let's go to the top. So how many virtual CPUs are there, right? How many memory gigs? What is the instance stored type, if it is there already, right? And EBS stored type, network performance, and IPv6 support, yes or no. So this is all the option that you're going to get, right? So you need to choose here. You can select, right, that what are the different types of option you have. Okay, so I hope I covered all the necessary things that I'm supposed to do. Let's go back to T2.micro. Let's choose the one for which your friend Ganadeep doesn't have to pay anything from his pocket. Where is my T2? Okay. So next, configuration instance, right? So you can review all the same time. So how many instances you are needed? I need only one, boss. Yeah. You are needed a spot instance, so you understand, right? If I select this spot instance, so current price is this, you got this. So so what would be my maximum price, right? I can persistent request, so ensure that your request will be submitted every time spot instance is terminated. So I have to do a fresh request for every time. They will not be asking you question around that, but you need to understand. So I just selected this one. So which availability zone? So we are into North Virginia region. There are this 6 availability zones are there. 0.0035 is the current price, so you can choose your price accordingly. So I can choose 0.0030, right, like this way. Okay, uh, I can choose, okay, my now 0.0030, right? I can choose this way. Okay, let's go back. So I'm just trying to cover every topic which will clear all your questions. Now network. So definitely VPC, I'm going to cover in detail, a good and robust topic that should come to your EC2 related exam. But for now, you understand VPC is something uh, giving you a boundary. So it is giving you a virtual allocation. So within that area, you have your own devices. For example, that you wanted to have 5 instances for your gaming related development, and you wanted to have it on some secure zone. So you create one VPC for that. You put all the EC2 instance into that, and it's now up to you whether you will allow others even within your account to access that or not. So you can choose that way. So it's a virtual segregation of the devices. So when you create uh, VPC, so it's by default you can create your new VPC. I'm going with the default one. So subnet. So just understand this thing, for each availability zone you have one subnet. So I'm into North Virginia region. We have 6 availability zone. So I have created one VPC, or it was already there. So under this VPC I have different subnet. So I can select, I can choose that within that region where actually I'm going to launch my EC2 instance. So let me choose something A, right? So they can give you that 4091 IP addresses are available into that, right? Okay. So now auto assign a public IP. Just to read through this one. So request is a public IP from Amazon public address pool to make instant reachable from the internet. So I hope we understand about the public IP, right? So public IP, you can access it from your home internet. Private IP, it will work within your network. People outside your network will not be able to access. Now, if you record a, so okay, where I am, if you require, it's mentioning here, if you require a persistent public IP that you can associate it and deassociate it, that will use elastic IP instead. You can allocate your own EIP. Okay, I'll come to that later. But for example, now if you stop your EC2 instance, your public IP will get changed within the same availability zone. But if you wanted to have a fixed IP for that EC2 instance, even though you stop it, for that you need an elastic IP that is also a kind of a public IP, so that I'll show you later. Placement group, I'll cover that in, I think after VPC I'll cover that, but it is something to make your system uh, faster. I mean, it increase the performance of your EC2 instance, so I'll cover that later. Okay, so capacity reservation. So capacity reserve capacity for EC2 availability. You can have a capacity reserve, have multiple attributes like platform something. So we'll ignore this one. It's not required. You have any IAM role? No, we do not have, but we have one. We'll cover this in today's session. What is IAM role? So mostly, suppose I have created this EC2 instance, right? Now I want this EC2 instance to access one S3 bucket, right? How it will access? So role is required. A role, I'll assign it to the EC2 instance. That role will give permission to this EC2 instance to access the S3 bucket. Other than that, how we can do that? If you remember my first session, you can do it using IAM policy, right? So IAM policy, in the sense you have the programmatic ID and password, which you can save it inside your profile, and using that programmatic secure ID and password you can still do that. However, the best way of doing it using a role, I'll show you that. Okay, this is a very important topic, shutdown behavior. So you see it, when you shut down your device it will stop, right? So it will ask you. So by default, this is also a good question that comes. What is the shutdown? By default, it's stop. So that means specify the instance behavior when OS level shutdown is performed. If any shutdown perform, you want stop or terminate. I want stop definitely. Who wants to terminate here? Stop hibernate behavior, enable hibernation, addition to stop behavior. You can do that, but it is not required as of now. Monitoring, enable CloudWatch detail monitoring. So detail monitoring, so normally they have monitoring enabled for every 5 minutes. So if you wanted to have it in 1 minute or before that, you need to enable the detail monitoring. CloudWatch, you remember where we created the billing, right, in previous session. Yeah, so I don't want it to pay extra for detail monitoring. I am happy with the normal monitoring. I'll show you how that happens. I'm not going to pay for that. Tenancy, so as I mentioned, right, I don't want a dedicated host. So we discuss about that. So I am going with a shared hardware instance. So I'm fine with that. I'm not going to discuss about finance or government related topics. Okay. So these are the fine. This is not that relevant for here. They just included here network interface card, metadata. Okay. Now this is something is very important. This is the data, user data, that you call as a Bootstrap loader. So when you get your EC2 instance being created, right? Now I want the device getting created. It should have Apache installed. It should have on web page setup so that I can access that immediately. So I'll show you that now. Okay, as I mentioned, I have the Bootstrap being created here. I just copy it here and paste it. So if you don't want it to do that, that is also fine. You can do it once you launch. So I'm doing one yum update. So that means initially I add a shebang script. Then I'm doing a yum update, which means I'm updating the operating system latest patch, then installing Apache, starting the Apache service. Then I'm checking the Apache service config on, so that even though my EC2 instance get restarted, it should be on. I'm going to a path var www.html, and there I created a simple HTML index.html file. Hello GD Gyan, learn AWS SAA in 3 hours. So what it would be doing, the instance would be launched, and in that instance this would be configured. So you can do it after launching the instance also, but this is also a good way of doing it, right? Next, go to the next, add storage. Okay, we discussed a lot about this, right? Instance store, EBS. So you can see it here, right? First of all, what are the different types of storage out there? So let's look into this thing. General purpose SSD, provisioned IOPS SSD, and magnetic. Your root device is where your operating system will stay. So for your root device, you have these three options, right? So general purpose, provisioned IOPS, and magnetic. Magnetic is the cheapest one, and definitely other two are goes as well. General purpose IOPS. So general purpose is something, I think 16K IOPS it provides still, and provisioned IOPS higher than that. So uh, cheapest, cheaper, costlier, and effective also. So performance wise also, so it will go up. Now read this line carefully. It's your root volume. This is the path. This is the IOPS. So let's check this one. Choose provisioned IOPS. So you can select your IOPS, right? Provisioned IOPS. You can go to that, right? But for general purpose, it is fixed, right? Now this option, delete on termination. So if you terminate your EC2 instance, if this box is checked, that means this path, this storage will get deleted with your EC2 instance. So by default, this also question comes, is your root device, EC2 EBS backed root device will get deleted on termination of EC2 instance? Yes, by default, yes. You can choose and you can make it, I mean, you can deselect this one. Okay, let it be. Encryption. So root device is not encrypted, but you can encrypt it, right? You can encrypt it. This option is there. Earlier when I cleared this exam, that time we cannot encrypt the root device. The encryption option was not there. Now this encryption is, I can select this encryption though, right? And even though I am not selecting not encrypted also, right? If I'm keeping it non-encrypted, I can encrypt it later on also. So that is also one of those questions, that your root device is not encrypted. Can you encrypt it later on? I said yes, we can. Now let's add new volume. Let's add few new volumes, right? Now let's have a drop down. Oh my god, we have 5 options here. For root device, we saw only 3 options: general purpose, provision IOPS, and magnetic. But when we are adding additional storage, we are getting 5 options, right? General purpose, provisioned IOPS is there. Then they are adding cold HDD, hard disk drive, and throughput optimized HDD, and magnetic. So they have 2 SSD solid state drive and 3 hard disk drive. So you got that. General purpose, provisioned IOPS, cold HDD, throughput optimized HDD, and magnetic. So this is what you can declare the size. You can, so now see, they by default delete on termination is no, right? And encryption is also, you can choose it's not encrypted. By default it's not encrypted, so you can select that, but you have option during creation itself you can encrypt it. I will not add anything, or else it would be charged back to me. Next question is that, suppose I have one root device which is general purpose SSD. Can I change it when my EC2 is being launched? Yes. Do I need to stop the EC2 instance? No. Let your EC2 instance run as it is. You change it by logging into Amazon AWS console, and it would be reflecting immediately. It takes some time, 2-3 minutes. I mean, the time it takes load into your page, but once it shows it's done, it's done. So it's that easy. Earlier we used to stop this, but now we don't have to. So this is also one of those questions, but understand how beautiful infrastructure they have, right? Even though you have to remove a USB, you have to do so much of struggle these days, right? You have to stop something, your computer, but think about there. So how beautifully they are organized. So I just remove this one. I'll go to next to add tags. So tags we have discussed. So something like department, I am doing it for finance. right? Like this. You can add your tags. So tags are also useful for billing purpose, right? So suppose I wanted to search uh, all my devices with department, right? All my devices. I from my AWS organization account, I'm trying to search that what all different AWS account created and all the department with finance. So tags are helpful for that. So next is configure security group. So we discuss about this thing, and this is very important. Before we go into much details, understand this security group concept very clearly. So security group helps you or enables you to save your data being hacked by a different group, or it makes you to you protect your data. So it is one level of firewall you can think of. So I'm creating a new security group. I'm giving it name GD Gyan. It's been some time to launch the instance. I was just waiting to commit out, so I just do a refresh here. Let's see. So you see that my instance created t2.micro on that 1A zone. You remember that is a it's in running state. System health check status green, so it's good. No alarm, and I got the public DNS IPv4 IP. Monitoring is disable, all those things, right? Security group is GD Gyan SG security group that we created, right? Okay. Owner is also given. Now let's quickly look into each aspect so that uh, we should be able to understand how these things happens, right? So let us click on this one so that, or a little more so that you can see it full screen. Description. So we have some instance ID, instance type, all this finding, private DNS is there, private IPs is there. Now come this side, I have the IPv4 public IP. Let's copy this one. Security group is mentioned, right? So uh, I'll come to that on the security group in more detail. AMI ID. So this is my AMI. So this is my one of those AMI I can get into my AMI, right? So you understand now that I have created an Amazon machine image. With this image, I can actually do whatever thing I wanted to create more, right? So root device, block device, everything is there, right? So I copied this one. Now let's try giving it a shot. You see it, hello GD Gyan, learn AWS SAA in 3 hours. So that's the thing that we did in the Bootstrap Loader, right? So because of that, it is coming up. So you got that, my web service is running, Apache is running, right? Now let's come back to here, status health check. Understand this thing very clearly, and this is very important. So you have two types of checks on your device. I'll make it a little small here. One is definitely status check and another is the instance check. What is the difference between that? This check verifies your instance is reachable. We test that able to get network packets, checks fails that may ensue with your infrastructure. So system status check checks your hypervisor. It ensures that the infrastructure is good where your instance is being present. It actually ensures the infrastructure. Instance health check, it checks your instance status if your particular EC2 instance that you just now created is in good or bad shape, right? So both the things passed now, so it is in running state. So let's go to other option. Hope you understand this thing. Monitoring. We mentioned that monitoring, we have basic monitoring. You see it here. Enable detailed cloud monitoring. I'm not going to do that. So currently it is doing in every 5 minutes, and if you do detail, then you'll get much more metrics. I mean, lot of different metrics, view all, CloudWatch metrics, you can check on that. I don't need that now, but based upon your business and operation. So you understand CPU disk, right? So you read this thing very carefully. disk, network, status check, so which is ping, CPU. So one question comes in the basic monitoring, what all monitoring comes. So you see all the monitoring is either related to your disk, right? Disk write out, network, CPU, and that's it. It doesn't really talk about directly on your memory, which means your RAM. It doesn't talk about any health check on your memory. So this kind of question also comes. Okay, let's uh, let's cover that later. Tax we discuss, department finance. Now let's look into some other things by going into this. So before that, here we have action, instance state. You can see I can stop, reboot, terminate. Instance settings, I can attach to a IAM role, which I'm going to show you today, and lot of different other option. Image, create image. I can create an AMI image from here, right? Uh, Now launch mode, like this we can create template from instance. We can do that, but it's not required. Cloud watch, we discussed that. Connect. So this is also one way of connecting into your EC2 instance. Now you launch this instance, but how you want to connect into that, so that will show. Before that, let's explore these other options. Instance types. So what are the different instance types they have? These are the things they have mentioned here. So you can choose any one of this. We discussed this, right? I mean, what are the different instance types we have? So C1, A1, you remember? And launch template. So if you wanted to create a template in the sense, what are the, you want to simplify these many EC2 instance, I want auto scaling and all. We'll discuss that during the network. Spot request. So instance spot request, you can request from here. Okay, hold on, let it come. Okay, spot request, you can do it. Saving plan, reserve instance, dedicated host. So all those options that we discuss in our PPT, they are now coming here. AMI, so we can create AMI out of our EC2 instance. We can make it shared to AWS Marketplace. Suppose you have created some AMI which is unique and you wanted to share it into Marketplace. So in community market, it will show. So you understand that? So you can share within your group, or you can share to entire team, entire world, right? Yeah. So let's come to here. Now this is the device EBS block that we have in use, right? So let's go to this one, modify the volume. So I can change it from general purpose to provisioned IAPS or something. So this is what I'm going to show you. I didn't stop the EC2 instance, but I can change this thing. So you understand this? Yeah. So what all other options are there? Detach, create, take snapshot. So suppose we discuss about this thing, right? If your device is not encrypted and you wanted to encrypt it, so what you need to do? You need to create a snapshot. So description. Okay, so our snapshot is now completed. We see it, and let's quickly look into that whether it is encrypted or not. So it is also not encrypted. Now let's look into this one. I try to copy this image. I can copy to this region, or I can copy to any other region, and I have option encrypt this snapshot. So I can use a default key, right, to default encryption technique and copy. So understand this thing. Now this will actually answer 3-4 questions of yours. One, can we copy one EBS volume to another region? Yes, we can. For that we have to take a snapshot, then copy to a region. Can we encrypt a EBS snapshot which is non-encrypted during creation? Yes, we can. We have to just take a snap and then copy, and when copying we have encryption option. So Other one that, so we have this snapshot created, right? Now we wanted to launch one another instance with the same snapshot. For that, option is that create image. So we'll create an image which will be in the same availability zone, and then from that image you launch an EC2 instance. So I answer you 3-4 questions, and after that what I'll do, I'll delete this one. Yeah, delete this snapshot. Okay, next one that I'm going to cover, security group. Okay, so this is the one that we have created. This was earlier there. So let's go into the security group. So we discuss about this thing, right? Security group, but you understand it's very important topic, and without understanding this thing, you cannot clear your solution architect exam. So you can see that inbound rules, outbound rules, right? So let's go to the outbound rules and edit outbound rules and delete it. So it was having all traffic save rules. So currently we have inbound rules which we added, no outbound rules, right? HTTP, HTTPS and SSH. It has two entry because one for IPv4 and one for IPv6. So now let's check whether I'm able to open this URL or not. Yes, I'm able to open. But how that is happening? I removed all the outbound rules, right? So response are going into the EC2 instance, but it is responding back also. How? So for that you have to understand security groups are stateful. That means whatever inbound rule you created, automatic the same rule applies for the outbound rule also. If you have HTTP 80 port open for inbound traffic, your traffic can go via the same port outbound also. So you understand this thing? It is a stateful security group, right? Now by default everything is denied. So if we don't have, so for example, if I delete HTTP, right? Let's delete that HTTP, even HTTPS also, though I'm not using the socket layer but a secure protocol, but let's do that. Now let's try opening this website. It's showing connecting here, right? You can see it here, and it would be timed out. It will not be able to reach there. Maybe after 60 seconds or so, yeah, it is showing not able to respond, right? Now let's edit this inbound rules and add HTTP. Add rule HTTP custom, anywhere, then save it. Yeah, I'm back. So few things, security groups are stateful. Whatever inbound rule you declare, that becomes automatic enable for the outbound rules. It enables immediately. We did this and it is now on that moment itself. You understand this thing? By default all inbound rules are denied. So what we are allowing, so we are giving them allow HTTP, allow SSH. So we are allowing those port or access. By default everything in inbound is restricted. So if everything is restricted inbound, outbound is also restricted. So you need to understand this thing very clearly. So that's why I came here. I wanted to show you this one. Lot of question will come on that. One more thing, there are a lot of question comes between comparison between security group and network access control list, NACL. So security group is stateful, network access control is stateless. So you have to define separate inbound and outbound rule for that. Here you cannot block a particular IP, right? There you can block a particular IP. So I'll discuss more on this or NACL in our networking part. But for now, you understand security group is stateful, NACL is stateless. Here you by default everything is deny. In NACL you can have allow deny separately, you can do that. uh, Here whatever things are there in inbound, same thing goes for outbound, which is stateful. And in NACL you can block a particular IP, which you cannot do in security group. Okay guys, so I think we are towards the end. Only the IAM rule is pending. We'll look into that, and before that let's go back to the EC2 dashboard instances. Yes, so what is our IP address? 5291.222.1. Let's stop this instance. Yes, stop. Let it get stopped and we'll see what happens. Is my website is accessible? Is my IP gets changed? So currently you can see there is no elastic IP, right? Yeah. So okay. So now you can see it is a stop state. We do not have that IP, but I have it saved here, right? So let me try accessing this one. Definitely, my EC2 instance is stopped, so I should not be able to access it, and you can see it's still connected. So let me go back for the sake of time, and let's start this one. Definitely is going to take some time, and remember the old IP address 5291.222.1. It is starting, and if I go back here, you can see it is not reachable, right? Okay, so it's starting. Instance state is pending. Status check, it's checking both, right? You remember two types of status check: system status check, instance status check. So both types of status checks is going on. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. I think it is running now. You see the status change. Look at the IP, it is completely different. Now let's check here. This one is not definitely going to be accessible. Copy this one, so paste it here. You should be able to see that. Yeah, and here nothing is coming. So this is a problem, right? I mean, every time you stop your EC2 instance, your IP will get changed and you won't be able to uh, use the same IP. So for that, this elastic IP concept came. You can attach your elastic IP things here. I think I will be able to see the option here. Attach it, attach network interface, security group. Okay, deassociate elastic IP. I think we would be able to create it from this option, elastic IPs. Yeah. So you can create elastic IP. Uh, Remember, it get associated with charge. So if you allocate this one, I think 5 elastic IP that you can get. So so be very cautious using this one, that elastic IP that you are using. And let's look into this one. Let's go back to EC2 instance and let's see what are instances are there. And so you understand, let me go back. I think elastic IP is created or not. If not, if created, let me delete that. So deassociated elastic IP. Yeah, that's good. So I think we have covered almost everything. Okay, so let's try to launch the actual server. Click on connect. There are several ways. You can have your own SSH client, you can use some session manager, or you can use this EC2 instance connect from their browser, right? So connect your instance using session manager, learn more. But let's to be very fast and let it be very useful for us. So let's use this one. Username is by default EC2-user. No one is going to ask you the question, but you let yourself update it on that. Okay. So you see it. It is now logging into your the user the IP that you created, right? The instance that you have created. So I am here into IAM role. I'll create a role here, create role. So this role will be for my EC2 instance, so that my EC2 instance can use this role. Next, go to permission. So I'm actually allowing my EC2 instance some permission so that it can perform some work. So I'm just giving this administrator full access. Next tag, not giving anything, just for quick reference. Let's create that EC2 access, something like that. Allow EC2 instance to access all AWS services on your behalf. Okay, so I just created that role. You can see it here. Let's go back to the EC2. I'm back to my EC2. Let's go to the running instance. Now this one is terminated. This one I have running instance. Now let's uh, attach IAM role. So I have this EC2 access role now. I will attach to here. Role attached successful. Now if I go back, if I select this, you can see it. Slowly, let me scroll down. You can see EC2 access role is attached here, right? And you can see that what all policy, what all permissions are there, right? Or the JSON script. Okay, so I have my bucket also created. Let's go back to the dashboard. I mean EC2 dashboard. Instances. Let's select this one. Connect. I'll use EC2 instance home manager. My username is EC2 user. Let's connect that. Okay, so now AWS, now I'll type AWS. Okay, what happened? It is not allowing me to type. Yeah, AWS S3 LS. So you're able to see, I do see the GD bucket 1234 is now accessible, the bucket I have created. Now I'll just quickly go back here, uh, settings, instance role, no role, apply, and yes, detach. So I just did that. So it shows me that there is no role is now being attached to this particular EC2 instance. If I scroll down, I do see IAM role is blank. Now let's go back to the same thing. I'll just execute the command once more time. So you can see that you can configure credential using AWS configure. So it's not able to access the S3 bucket actually. So what does that mean? Configure this one, right? AWS configure. So if I run that AWS configure, you will be able to understand. It is asking me secret access key ID and the password, default region name, default output format, and all. So when we discuss in the IAM policy, right? So whenever we create any user or something, we get one secure ID and password, right? Programmatic access. So that access you can set it here. This would be saved under .aws folder, right, under the root, and this would be a hidden folder, but actually those programmatic access ID and password would be saved there. So you can save that and you can access S3, or you can create a role, but creating role would be much beautiful way of accessing it. Okay guys, so let's clear this thing out. where we'll talk about the metadata. So curl http colon slash slash 169.254.169.254 slash latest slash metadata. So that shows you all the details. So you pick up any of this option after your latest slash, you replace anything instance ID or something, you would be able to see it. So friends, we covered all the topics. Just have a quick look. We discussed about everything, or did I miss any of them? Okay, I think I have covered everything, but on the security group, wanted to say something more. So security group is your first level of firewall. So you have inbound and outbound rules. Inbound rules, as you saw, that we have added SSH, HTTP. So security group called stateful. Stateful means whatever things you are allowing, like SSH or HTTP, you are allowing 2280 port. Inbound traffics are coming through that. So I can go through port to 80. So whatever things you are defining in inbound, the same thing is automatically enabled for outbound. So you don't have to define what is accepted in outbound or what is denied in the outbound. So by default, whatever policy you are enabling for inbound, that is applied to outbound. So for example, the URL that we have shown, right? So if even though we delete all the outbound policies, uh, still we would be able to see that web page. So that shows security groups are stateful. You don't have to define uh, inbound and outbound separately. So that is one thing. Security groups, there is a quick question comes on security groups and NACL, network access control list. So security groups are stateful, NACLs are stateless. So in NACL you have to define both inbound and outbound policies separately. Security group, by default, everything is in inbound is blocked. So you do not have allow deny option in security group, right? You only have allow. So you are allowing something, you cannot deny. But in NACL, we can deny, we can allow. So that option is there. So if somebody asks you that I wanted to block a particular IP, uh, that IP should not access my any of the resources, can I do it through security group? No, for that you need NACL. So these are the few things wanted to discuss. So let's go back to the end of the session. I have few questions for you. This question I have explained in this session, and I'm sure whoever going to attend the exam, there will be a lot of questions that you're going through. But any of this question should be going to come into your solution architect exam. So the concept is very much important. Stay tuned for the next week. We'll come back with the database in the next week's session. Bye. Please like, subscribe, share. Thanks for watching.